and it's going to cause illness. And it's just not a good thing. And then last week we also took a look at the problems of forgiveness too, where we took a look at 2 videos that I think probably affected you. It's okay, I'm not using this. This is Roger's. Thank you. And we took a look at those 2 videos with Jackie, the girl who had the very badly disfigured face, and Corey Ten Boom, the person who had survived a concentration camp. Both situations, you have to start to ask yourself, could I forgive people, if I was in the same situation? What we try to do in our church here is we try... Okay, guys, can we just grab a seat, please, and listen up here. This is one of the key parts of this message. What happens in church a lot, and you probably have experienced this yourself, people sit there and go, don't do this, don't do that, this is wrong, that's it, and then they walk away and say, hey, have a good life. Well, as far as we're concerned in this church, we think that that's totally wrong. Just to leave you out there, that's like putting you out in the middle of an ocean in a rowboat without any oars and saying, hey, good luck. Hope you make it to the other side. So what we always try to do is we try to give you some kind of hands-on tools, some hands-on suggestions that you can hopefully use to get some forgiveness in your own life. Plus, we also try to address this. Now, people say, this is not one of these situations where people say, well, this only works for Christians. This will work to everybody because our church, we welcome everybody. Christians, new believers, non-believers, we don't care. We are here for everybody. So these messages are geared for everybody. So let's take a look at this. So, how to forgive and let go. So one of the things we're going to look at here is stop telling the same story over and over again. You probably have heard people like this, where they go on and on about, oh, Roger hurt me. My feelings are so hurt. And it's like, I'm just like, and he's just so wrong. And it's like, excuse me while I take off one of my socks and stick it in your mouth. Give it a break. It's like sticking a pin in your eye over and over again. If you don't like it, why do you keep living it? Stop. Try not to think about the hurt and train yourself to go elsewhere when you do. We talked about this last week a little bit. You start to think about, this person is wrong, he's hurt me. You remember we talked about the fact that forgiveness in the Aramaic means untie. Let go. So what you need to do is you need to learn to untie, get yourself away from that person. Why are you Velcroing yourself to the person who is driving you crazy? Get away from that. One of the things you can do is just stop and think. Where is a place that I like? When you start to realize I'm going off the rails here, start to think, I like Florida. I'm going to start thinking about Florida. I'm going to think about Florida instead of this guy that's driving me nuts. Go to a different place. This all takes time. It all takes training. It all takes practice. Admit that you've been hurt. We're not going to invalidate your feelings and tell you, okay, that's it. Okay, no, you actually didn't get hurt. You have been hurt. That is legitimate. Don't try to erase it because the hurt does exist. So admit, I was hurt. But what are we going to do about it? Talk to somebody, but not to wallow in it. Very important thing here. Somebody comes to me and says, I want to talk to you, Pastor Dave. Can you help me with this forgiveness thing? Yeah, okay. Let's sit down and talk about it. But we're not going to talk about it and go over and over and over again about how bad this person is. You can't keep it in. So if you come to me and say, can I talk to you about forgiveness? I'm going to say, sure, okay. What's the problem? Well, it's not fair. What are you going to do about it? I'm just going to sit here and complain. No, you're not going to sit here and complain, because I'm not going to listen. Because it's not going to do anything. It's just like keep sticking the pen in your eye. Knock it off, get the pen out of your eye. I'm going to help you to get the pen out of your eye. So you've got to get it out. You cannot keep it in, because it's going to fester and bubble just like a volcano, and it's going to blow. You've got to let it out. It is a legitimate feeling. But you're not coming to me to have your story over and over and over again. You know, I get Roger comes to talk to me about this. Roger, this is the 17th time you've come to talk to me. I know the story better than you. I'm starting to feel hurt by this person and I don't even know them. Okay? Recognize that the person may never apologize. Okay? You probably want the person to come to you. Oh, please forgive me. I am so wrong. I'm terrible that I hurt you. There's a good chance it ain't going to happen. You've just got to just understand that it's good chance that it's just not going to happen. There's a lot of things in life that aren't fair. But whoever promised you that life was going to be fair? Okay? Life isn't fair. Sometimes we're dealt some crummy cards in life, but it teaches us to deal with obstacles and difficulties. We've mentioned it here before that God's main drive is love. If everybody in the world learned to love their neighbors, and I mean love their neighbors. You notice that thing, when God says, love your neighbor, he doesn't say, accept this person, this person, this person. There's no little brackets that have things in it. Love your neighbors. That includes the pedophile across the street. That includes the drug addict down the road. That includes the gangbanger that lives above you in the apartment. All those people. And a lot of them are really despicable and they're very hard to love. God puts unlovable, difficult people in our lives to train us to become more lovable ourselves. You know, if all the people in my life were like Dwight, I would have no problem loving all of them. But there are people, and the thing is, if it's just like Dwight, my love quotient stays like this. That's not growing. And our nursing students will tell you, in the medical business, if you have a flat line, that ain't a good thing. You're dead. So you need the up and downs. And you're going to have people like that in your life. And it's like, can I, should I, will I? God intentionally puts these difficult people in your life to kick up your love quotient. Will you succeed? Maybe. We don't know, but you have to at least have an open mind. Could I try to love that pedophile? It's like somebody once asked me, when I was down in the States at this church, they said, do you allow homosexuals in your church? So we let everybody in our church. We're not like, we don't have a sign that says only these people can come in. Everybody is broken. Everybody's got a problem. Okay? You guys know that I've got a problem with alcohol. Okay? Everybody's got a brokenness that only Jesus can help with. But we have to admit this. And in this church, nobody is going to condemn you. Nobody's going to point a finger at you. We do not care where you came from. We care where you're going. Amen? Amen. If you think or know the person hurt you intentionally, live your life happily. There's a good chance somebody has done something like gossiped intentionally, started a rumor about you to intentionally hurt you. You're not going to change that. You can go around, you can buy a full-page spread in the Toronto Star that says, these are all lies, don't believe them, I'm really a good person. There's still people who are going to believe it. Because people, unfortunately, human beings tend to be negative. If the forecast says there's a 40% chance of rain, and we're going to go on a picnic, you'll hear people, 40% chance of rain. There's a 60% chance it won't rain. Why are you looking at the negatives? It's just like the newspapers. Good news doesn't sell. CNN wouldn't exist if it was the cheery news network. Okay? They want bombs and explosions and floods and all kinds of stuff. This is good for you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And as an added bonus, it'll drive the person crazy. So the person sat there and he's told bad things about you still. I'm good. I'm still happy. They win if you're going around. They've succeeded. Smile and be happy. It drives them nuts. Understand healing will take time. Okay, and I've told you guys this before. This isn't something like, okay, I forgive Dwight. Everything's good. No. It's going to keep coming back. It's going to take a while. And it's all through this process, many different steps, that it's going to eventually get there. And to be honest with this, will forgiveness be 100%? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, maybe not. Maybe it'll only be 50. But you have to work towards it. It is work. It's effort. And know that you may never reconcile with the person. Dwight could have been my best bud, best friend, trust him with everything, even trust him with my fishing equipment. Or my tools. Okay? But they ripped me off my tools. Oh, God, man. I don't know if I can ever forgive this guy. So he's taken my tools, and that's it. Will we ever be friends again? I don't know. There's a chance that we won't. Ideally, we would love to have this. We sometimes drive towards a world of rainbows and unicorns. Well, sometimes the rainbows and unicorns aren't there. Okay? So we hope that we can get back to the relationship we had. And it's a relationship you have with anybody. Just go off to the side for a minute. Husband cheats on the wife. Really good, loving relationship. It's going to take a lot of work to reestablish that relationship that those two had. It's going to take a lot of work to establish this relationship that we've had. But you know something's cool? Your relationship between you and God breaks down. And you go back to him and say, look, I'm sorry, I messed up, will you accept me back? No question, no doubt, come to me. Come to me. without any judgment, without any conditions, only if you, no. Him and I might do this, either mentally, emotionally, or verbally, but God doesn't. God takes you back. When you have forgiven the person, know that you will not forget. We talked about this last week where forgiving is not forgetting. Forgetting is a lifestyle, it's a survival tool. Again, we go back to Dwight. He ripped me off my tools. I've gone out, I've all bought new tools and everything else. We get our relationship back together. Comes to me, he says, can I borrow some tools? Well, the thing is now, you see what I'm doing is I'm going, oh man, I'm not forgetting. If our relationship has been patched up, there's a reasonably good chance I'll trust him again. But I'm being hesitant. It's like we talked about in the biblical thing where it said, Jesus said, how many times should I forgive? And Jesus says 77 times. That's just, he's just letting you know that you have to forgive. There's no specific number. I trust Dwight. I lend him my tools. He rips me off again. All right, we try to patch up things again. He comes to me a third time and says, hey Dave, can I borrow your tools? I'm sorry, Dwight. I love you. I have forgiven you, but I am not going to do the same thing that caused the problem before. Jesus does not expect us to take the pen out of our eye and then shove it back in. All right? He does not want to see us hurt. That's why forget goes with, forget and forgive go together. You cannot forget when you forgive. Now, here's some suggestions on how to forgive. Speak to the person. Now, those of us who are Christians, this is actually a guide that we've been taught to do. Matthew 18:15 says, if your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you've won them over. The first thing that Dwight and I as Christians should do is talk about this. Listen, bro, you hurt me. You burn me. Do you realize my hurt feelings? There is times. Now, in the case of the tools, that's pretty obvious that he's ripped me off. But we're in a conversation around this table. Dwight says something to Nancy that I find hurtful. He doesn't think it's hurtful. He might be thinking he's making a joke. I can go away with, we talked about this before, the 100-pound bag of potatoes on my shoulder. Oh, Dwight, I thought he's a friend of mine. He really dissed me. Like, why would he say that? Like, next thing you know, there is this barrier starts to form between us. We don't talk to each other. When what I should do is go to him and say, listen, last Tuesday when we had that conversation, you said something to Nancy. Like, that hurt me. Whoa, man. I don't even remember saying that. A lot of times that's the case. The person doesn't even realize they've hurt you. Or it was totally unintentional. Without that opportunity to talk about this, the barrier grows between us, and it's just downright stupid and unnecessary. Because I go to him and it's like, whoa! Now, there is the outside possibility in a situation like that, and he says, well, yeah, you're a jerk. Oh, so you meant what you said. Oh, yeah, I think you're a jerk. I thought you were my friend. Still gives us an opportunity to talk. Why do you think I'm a jerk? A lot of our problems come from lack of communication. Talk to a person. God gave you that big hole in the middle of your head for a reason. Use it constructively. Constructively. If you're not comfortable face to face, and some of us aren't, pick up the phone or take out the phone. You see, I'm still the old guy, pick up the phone. Okay? All right, so pick up the smart. See, if you're smart, you use the smartphone. And you're like, Dwight, yo, bro, what's going on? Like, we got a problem. Okay, and sometimes people have trouble looking at each other in the eyes. That's cool. It's still communication. Phone them. While it's not very personal, send an email explaining your feelings. But may I make a big suggestion? Write the email, put it in drafts, come back the next day and read it before you hit that send button. Especially if you're angry. Don't send emails when you're angry. Inevitably, as soon as you hit that send button, it's like, oops. Give it some time. Time is very important. Write a letter that you may or may not send. You gotta get it out of here and out of here. Write the letter. Explain to the person. Actually mail it. Or at least go through the process. I had a problem with, when I was a kid, I lived with my aunt because my parents are dead and this type of thing. And she was just something else. She, like, bad relationship between the two of us. Hated that woman's guts like you would not believe. I would have run her over with my car. I had a lot of problems with that. Until I actually did this. I actually sat down and wrote the letter. Now, I never mailed it, but I actually wrote the letter, and that really released a lot of the burden and a lot of the problems I had. Just getting it out and venting. In all these cases, make sure that you've thought out exactly what you want to say and how and why you have been hurt, so that the person clearly understands. Dear Dwight, you are a jerk. You are the biggest jerk I have ever known. Of all the people in Jerktown, you are the biggest jerk. I hate you. You're a goof. Goodbye. I don't love you anymore. Signed, David. All that's going to do is, when he opens that, is like, man, this guy is a nut job. You got to explain why, where the problem came from, and how we might be able to do it. At least give the person some kind of idea where you're coming from. You can't just mindlessly, emotionally vent without something behind it. Give the guy a break. Forgiveness is not easy. You need help. Prayer. Prayer is a good thing, man. It really is a good thing. Christians, we've got a great opportunity to do this. We talk to God, hey, whoa, this is big, bro. I need some help. Oh, you need some help? I'm glad you asked, okay? I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to help you. He will listen. Now, he's going to possibly tell you, you have to go talk to Dwight. I don't want him. And God's going to tell you, wait a second. You're telling me that you don't want to do what I just told you. I guess that's not too wise, is it? He will help you. Prayer works. It's also a method of getting some of this out. God, what am I going to do? Dwight is such a jerk. I just want... Now, first of all, he's liable to say to you, now, if you guys have read the Bible, did you read the Bible, Dave? It says, I don't want you calling people bad names. Because remember, when Matthew, when Jesus goes and does the Sermon on the Mount, he talks about the fact that thou shalt not kill. And everybody goes, wow, that's one commandment, a safe one. But no, Jesus comes along and says, but if you say bad things about somebody, that's like killing. Oh. I don't like how you're changing this. Okay? So, you can rant to God. And if you're really honest and open, He'll listen. And He's liable to talk to you and tell you something back. You might not want, like, you gotta go talk to Joy. I don't want. I just told you you gotta go talk. No, I don't want to. Okay, you're making your own bed. You enjoy carrying that 100-pound bag of potatoes on your back, right? No. Well, then go talk to. No. You're acting like a 2-year-old. I don't want that. Okay? He'll tell you what to do. Now, we're going to finish up here with, again, something hands-on. I'm a little bit of a mind reader. I know there are some people out here who have got somebody they need to forgive, but either can't or won't or don't know how to. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pray a prayer together. You can do it out loud. You can do it quietly to yourself, or you don't even have to do it. When we get to the blank in the prayer, you put in the name of the person that you're thinking about. You don't have to stand up and go, Dwight! We don't have to do that. You can just do, Dwight. Okay? We don't have to go public with who you're forgiving. Okay? You just sort of mumble it to yourself. Alright? But if you want to, then that's fine too. Alright? So, please join with me as we do this and get rid of that 100-pound bag of taters on your back. Stand up straight, walk tall. Father, thank you for your mercy and grace toward me and for forgiving my sins through your Son's death on the cross. Thank you that you forgive me over and over for repeated sins and for new sins, big and small. I am so grateful for your grace. Lord, I need to forgive who has wronged me, hurt me, betrayed me, offended me, sinned against me. It's hard for me to do this. I am still hurt, angry, confused. So I come asking you for the power to forgive. Fill me with your Spirit and remind me of your love and mercy to me and to by your Spirit, I choose to forgive. I choose to extend grace and mercy to him, even as you have done for me. I choose, as you enable me, to live at peace with this person. I ask that you bless in your love. Please, may we be reconciled and your relationship be healed. And if that does not happen, may I continue to love and forgive. Thank you that this is possible in the power of your Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen. And as I said, some of these things are going to take some time to do. That just didn't magically happen. And because it didn't just magically happen, I've also noticed there's some people trying to madly copy this down. I've got copies for you, okay? You can take a copy home with you today. Just refer to it again. Something like this, I suggest people stick it on the mirror in their bathroom. Start your day off in a positive way. Why would you want to go through your day with a 100-pound bag of potatoes on your back? Start to let go. Even if it's one potato at a time, it will gradually release the burden. Okay, so next week what we'll do is we're going to come together and we're going to discuss all these things. But today, your topics, and don't forget this. Here's one thought to ponder. Anybody who claims to be in the light, in other words, anybody in here claims to be a Christian, but hates a brother or sister, is still in darkness. We don't do, in this church, we don't do hellfire and brimstone, you're going to burn in the lake of fire and all this kind of stuff. But I do want you to take control of your faith journey. I need you to think about stuff, okay? If you show up on the day of judgment, your final judgment, and Jesus is standing there, and he's got the key to the door, and he says to you, okay, are you a Christian? Yep. So you want to come in? Yep. Do you hate anybody? Yep. That's not the right answer. Because the scripture we talked about over the last two messages is that if he forgives you, you gotta forgive somebody else. It's a two-way street. It's not all take. It's also give. There's an interesting thing that happens. If stuff only goes one direction, instead of two ways, it goes off the rails. If you look at the Holy Land, water comes into the Dead Sea. It doesn't go out. It only is a one-way journey. Are you like the Dead Sea? Are you dead inside? It's got to go two ways. Last but certainly not least are these wise words. A man reaps what he sows. If you give hatred and negativity to other people, don't be surprised when it comes back to you. And here's your discussion questions for today. How did these suggestions that we put up here for you help you towards forgiveness? Now, and please remember, when we're doing our table discussions, you're free to say whatever you want. You just say, nah, this is a bunch of hooey. This is a bunch of dumbness. That's fine. If that's what you honestly believe. What obstacles prevent you from moving towards forgiving somebody? Is it pride? I don't know. And lastly, would you like some help or talk to somebody about forgiveness? If that's the case, speak to the leader at your table or speak to Dwight, myself, Malad, Roger, any one of us. We're glad to sit down and talk with you and try to help you through it. And we'll start to help you take the potatoes out of your bag.